for Canadians baffled over wokeism, and our rapid embrace of it under Justin Trudeau. Its origins, in Marxism, are the salient key to understanding. Throughout CAP's coverage of Trudeau's ironclad rule over Canadian society, it's the first time we have witnessed the Liberal Communism Association, in direct terms. Naturally, it took media outside of Canada to bring the point to the people. On a trip to Moscow, in 1952, Trudeau's father, Pierre, who would later become Canada's Prime Minister, remarked that he was a communist, and was in Moscow to criticize the United States and praise the Soviet Union. Can a common-sense Canadian imagine for 1 minute that such exposure would appear in the pages of the Canadian press? If so, they must be daydreaming. Communism has been described as the leading ideological cause of death globally between 1900 to 2000. With 94 million deaths attributed to China, the Soviet Union, North Korea, Afghanistan, and Eastern Europe. The Trudeau lychee doesn't fall far from the tree. Now there's an appropriate topic, in the era of COVID, death. The phenomenon takes on myriad forms. The death of human beings, naturally, but also a dying of social and political phenomena. Those closely observing the political trajectory of Canada under our ruling Liberal government know the feeling. Together, we witness an erosion of personal freedom and democratic governance within society. With COVID as catalyst, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is driving our country toward the status of a historical dictatorships. To disguise the transition, Liberal backroom strategists devised an effective smokescreen. It goes like this: we will always stand up for the rights of the marginalized and oppressed within society. Thus began the deception. In order to protect the rights of the so-called underprivileged, society as a whole must degenerate into a neo-communist society. One quintessential example being Trudeau pending censorship of the internet. Have you heard the news? It's all being done for the benefit of our citizenship. Away from media propaganda, cap zero in on the true circumstances. If any country in the world absorbed as many migrants per capita as Canada, at our speed of entry and increased racism would be a natural outcome. Some countries, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan and otherwise, would never put up with this in the first place. You can imagine these homogeneous societies diluting their religious identity in this capacity. Never, in a million years, say cap. CBC, CTV, Globe, and Mail, Global News, Toronto Star. Not one has ever so much as alluded to any of this. Do tell, fellow patriots, how could an immigration quota intake of 1.2 million third world migrants, in a 3-year period not result in inter-community conflict? Media response: Canadians are racist, xenophobic, bigoted, homophobic, and transphobic. It's a complete lie. Our citizens are no different than any other within the Western world. Viewed through the lens of communism, Canadians can be forgiven for feeling an uncomfortable sense of déjà vu. At a Liberal fundraiser, in 2013, Justin Trudeau professed esteem for the dictatorship in China. There's a level of admiration I actually have for China. Their basic dictatorship is actually allowing them to turn their economy around on a dime. Identity now replaces equity as a political system. Bingo. Let's hear it for the Chicago Times, who just articulated Cultural Action Party philosophy. Ideology has replaced social equality within Justin Trudeau's Liberals. Ideology is the route at which adherence to woke liberalism in Canada is discovered. Witness as Trudeau's backroom schemers emulate communist governance in China, Cuba, and former Soviet Union. Never will citizens read about any element of what we speak within a mainstream Canadian media publication. Pierre Trudeau. In terms of political tactics, the only real question democratic socialists must answer is, just how much reform can the majority of the people be brought to desire, at the present time? Be brought to desire? Spoken like a true Trudeau. Media's role is to seduce Canadians into acceptance of a neo-communist Canada. Pierre Trudeau didn't quite get there. 50 years later, questionable offspring Justin Trudeau is employed to finish the task.